What is happening? Welcome back to the YouTube. Welcome to another episode of The Journey. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, we've had a little bit of an upgrade within the camera. I'm no longer filming from my phone, now filming from a DJI Osmo. Thank you very, very much to Kiva for that. That was an absolute brilliant birthday present. But for today's video, we are going to be training pool at JP's gym. So today actually is my birthday. Only got this today, but I was planning on filming for the YouTube this week and probably today, to be honest. So it does make sense to give this new wee device a go. As well, I'm just going to say it now, if there's any teething issues, you'll probably see it in the video itself, but it does seem to be pretty straightforward so far. Today's session is going to be a big pull session. We have got RDLs going to be taking 170 kilograms, which is, well, what I took last week. I took it for 4. Which I'll chuck on screen here right now. But this week we're looking for 6+, well 5 to 6 at bare minimum, because last week I lost tightness. It wasn't as if, you know, those 4 reps were to absolute failure. I probably had 5 there, so definitely want to be looking for 5 to 6 reps as a minimum. But I'm very, very much looking forward to this session. So I'm going to be taking you along for the session itself, just talk through kind of whatever's on my mind, to be honest, throughout the session. And yeah, we're going to make sure it is a good one. Okay, it is now time to make our pre-workout drink and our intro drink. Mind the group calendar in the back. That is my girlfriend's, believe it or not. She is a big fan of group. But I'm not sure exactly if this is going to follow me all the way around. Looks as if it is. But in terms of pre, we are going to go for a stim pre because it is before 2 p.m. That's when I cut off my caffeine intake for the day. Main reason for that is I used to take pre-workout at 5 p.m, 6 p.m. and go to sleep at 10 p.m. and I wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I feel like I haven't slept, even though I was sleeping 7-8 hours every night. But I thought that the caffeine wasn't an issue because I was still falling asleep. Within 5 hours of slamming 2 scoops of pre. But it turns out that was actually a little bit of an issue. So now I just don't have caffeine after 2 p.m. Because, although the quantity of sleep is important, doesn't matter if you're getting 7-8 hours of sleep if the quality of that sleep is terrible. So again, it is person dependent, but I like to limit caffeine, I'd say 8 hours before bed, 7 to 8 hours before bed makes the most sense for myself and for the majority of my clients. But we're going to go for defib. I'll need to grab my Intra out of another room, but defib, HR Labs, very, very good product. I don't actually go for the full serving because the full serving has got 400 milligrams of caffeine. I just go for 15 grams, which is I think 21 grams, 15 grams. So 300 milligrams of caffeine, which actually is quite high for myself. Normally, I do prefer a pre with 200 milligrams, but at the same time, I don't want to have that little amount of this that I'm not actually getting, the full or near a full dose of all the other performance-based ingredients. But that's our pre. I'll jump over and grab or I'll even just take you with me to grab our intra. Our intra, we have got Carb Max from Strong, and we have also got Trained by JP EAAs, and I'll be honest, the reason for either of these is nothing to do with the quality. It is more so just down to what was on sale from the site I was ordering from. I would usually just opt for a non-branded, a non-flavoured cyclic dextrin from, for example, MyProtein and Bulk do just general carb powders, which are normally a lot cheaper than your branded actual intra-workout carb or carb max, for example. But at the same time, the sale that this was on ended up cheaper, so might as well. But yeah, in terms of like going for an intra-workout carb, I would just opt for whatever's cheapest, to be honest. You know, pretty much all of them are going to have cyclodextrin. So it's not like a pre-workout where there's going to be a load and load of different ingredients. Obviously some intras have different ingredients, so read the label. But if the intra that you're looking for is just carbohydrates, which primarily is what I'm looking for, then it makes more sense just to go for a non-branded or like, you know, a bulk or a MyProtein in that regard. But 30 grams in there. Realise you probably actually can't even see the shaker because the camera's a little bit too high. And then 15 grams of EAs going in here. And yeah, that is the pre and intra made up. We are now going to head to the gym. I realise this clip's been 5 minutes. This is going to be far too long a video. So I don't even know if this will make it. But yeah, that is pretty much all. Excited for the session today. It will be a good one. Okay, so we are now in for pull. Starting off with 2 sets on this single arm lat pull down, which will be on screen just now. Main reason for having lats early into the session. My lats are a bit of a weak point, try to bring those up with 2 sets there. As well as that kind of gets me warm and ready to go in and attack the RDL next. Okay, so 2 sets on the Nautilus single arm pull down wrapped up there. Main cues for that and pretty much all single arm pull downs. For me anyway, I just like to think of pushing those hips back, keeping that chest nice and proud and dragging that elbow down into the pocket. You know, you can think about other things like, obviously you want to have a slight lean back, but at the same time you don't want to overdo it to the point where you're completely, you know, all the way back here and you're getting pretty much no range. Not getting much into the length at all, or at the same time, obviously, you don't want to be having much body language at all. You don't want to be, you know, moving forward and back. You want to make sure that your prime mover is literally just elbow down into the pocket. But we are now on to an RDL. We only have 1 set of the RDL programmed, and that is between 5 and 8 reps. Taking 170 today. I've not done an RDL here in quite a while. I've been running this session at Muscle Hut, but nothing changes. Realistically, we're going to go in, we're going to take 170. As I said earlier, we got 170 for 4 last time, but we'll be looking to take that for at least 5, 6 this week, especially down to, you know, last week. It wasn't because I had nothing left, it was more so that my brace kind of gave way at that 5th rep that I was going for. But yeah, now going to fire into some warm-ups. I'll probably show a few of them anyway, or even have them playing just now while I talk. You know, things like warming up for an RDL for me, or any sort of big hinge, big squat pattern is vital. It helps build that confidence for that top set, as well as obviously priming your body to move that load. You know, it's not the same as a single arm curl or a lateral raise. You know, you need to make sure you're both physically and mentally prepared for the set ahead, which is exactly what I am doing just now. Yep. Yes! Okay, so intra now going in. as we debrief that RDL set. Very happy. Like, I'll be honest, if you were to ask me this morning how I felt, I'd tell you, like, great. But being honest, I'm not feeling too fresh at all. My Oura ring's been throwing all sorts of alerts at me over the past week or so. All sorts of pay attentions. If you have an Oura ring, you'll know. But like, if anything, I've just felt a bit more tired. But I'm definitely feeling reasonably run down. But at the same time, I don't want to take a deload. I've got a holiday in 3 weeks. Obviously, I need to be careful. I don't end up running myself into the ground, but not feeling too fresh and still taking a +1 on the RDL. Very, very happy. A minute, actually, I'm going to make this track my face. There we are. Much better. Just because I noticed there I was struggling to keep it aligned with my face, but yeah, very happy with that set. So that's 170 for 5, which is my best ever on here, which is pretty cool. I mean, deadlifts I did get 180 for sets of like 6, 190 for a double actually as well, but that was also about 9 kilos heavier than I am now. And obviously, like a deadlift, you're probably going to be stronger than an RDL, like 9 out of 10 people anyway. But in terms of approaching that RDL, like, I believe that your focus within training can be such a key factor in like productive, progressive training. And like, although yes, you don't want to be in the gym pure, not like talking to anyone, like head down, like, you know, looking very, very unapproachable. But I may come across that way during the warm-ups of a hinge, because like the level of focus I need to have, like, I understand that people will always, including myself, have things going on outside the gym, but like, you cannot have any other thing in your head other than the hinge that you're about to do, or the, you know, the big set in terms of like, you know, your big presses, your big hinge work, your big squat patterns, etc. Like, if you're going into a set like that distracted, you're going to bottle it. Whereas you might be able to get away with it to an extent on, you know, your lateral raises, etc. Not that I'm advocating that you know, try and go train distracted or train having a laugh at mates, etc. But you're not going to get away with it on those bigger exercises for sure. But one set there on the RDL before now. Moving on to the real prime row, because as I said before, been doing this session at a different gym, which is a really good gym to be honest, but been using a prime row made by, I think it's Define Strength. It's basically the exact same machine, but just you can kind of tell the difference, you know, when you use the real version. So looking forward to 2 sets on there before a few sets on the Strive low row. Yep. The prime row, 2 sets here. Loading 85 kilograms on the top end, 15 on the mid, and then we will take away probably 5 kilograms from the mid on the back offset, and that should take 12. Obviously, as we get further into the session, our ability to get a muscle short is going to be less, so it makes sense to take away from there rather than taking away from the top pin on all of your exercises where you're able to adjust the resistance profile. In terms of a back row, especially this prime row, what I like to think about doing is just wrapping my arms almost across the chest pad during the eccentric, and then driving back using the scapula and the elbows on the concentric, just get that full traction of the upper back. Again, kind of copy that across all of your upper back movements, and we will be pretty safe and successfully target your upper back. Making sure those hands are just hooked, you're not pulled with the hand. obviously be strapped up. Well, you don't need to be strapped up for this. It's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more beneficial if you do strap up. And think about also driving back those elbows with that strapped up.
Honey, check it. Tell your friends to get with my friends. We can be friends. Shit, we can do this every weekend. Alright? Is that alright? Yeah. Keep back.
Okay, so session complete. What a session that was, honestly. Really enjoyable pool session up there at JP's. JP's is incredibly quiet during the day, which is nice considering, like, realistically, it's probably the best, if not one of the best equipped gyms in Scotland. So yeah, managing to, you know, get in everything pretty much, not having to work in, etc., or wait on any machine is very nice, especially at a gym as well equipped as JP's. But yeah, that is, you know, the first video with the Osmo. In terms of any notes I want to leave the video on, in terms of your back training, do it all. Don't just marry yourself to one style of training, in the sense of, like, I will do the stuff that people say is optimal, you know, the single arm pull downs, the single arm rows, although I think it's gone further than that now. I think it's a cuff you use, isn't it now, or you put a foam roller around your arm, but anyway, as I was saying, I do, you know, your single arm pull downs, your single arm rows. At the same time, I'll also have a free weight, well, not a free weight, but a non-chest supported row with my Emil Smith row on Saturday pull session. And since, you know, not marrying myself to one style and, you know, making sure that I'm doing it all within my back training, covering all bases, pulling from different angles, I saw the most growth. You know, I'll put up a photo when I started with fitness, or even that, we'll put up a photo from January 2025 of my back at the first Natural Physique meetup, and then I'll chuck up a photo of my back from, like, recently. So that's what, like, a year and 3 months, a year and 2 months even, so just over a year's worth of progress there. And it just goes to show that, like, you know, if you have a lagging muscle group, you can bring it up. It's about obviously making sure you're giving it the attention it deserves, but also making sure to drop the ego within your training in that muscle group, because, you know, there's a reason it's lagging 9 times out of 10. Yes, it might not be a genetic strong point, but 9 times out of 10 there is also a reason why that muscle is lagging. But that is all for today's video. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Any likes, comments, all that stuff, very much appreciated, and I will see you very soon.